Hey everybody, it's Tim. Welcome to Call Me Beast. We are talking about whether it's fun to be scared or not fun to be scared. How do we feel about this? Dr. Mary White, my wonderful friend, is here. Mary, how are you?
I'm doing good. I don't want to give it away, but guess who doesn't like to be scared?
Yeah, that might be you, Mary. And of course, I have my husband, Steve, sitting next to me because, Steve, you love to be scared.
I love to be scared, and I love scaring people. I'm all about it. So
Okay, so I thought this would be interesting, and I'm sort of in the middle. I used to be not a fan, and now I'm becoming more of a fan. So I thought that this would be an interesting conversation. So, Mary, how did this come up? Because of the job?
Yes, so I read your blog post. If you don't know, Tim writes many blog posts, and they're always available on Facebook and stuff, and they're really short and always very interesting. And so I read your blog post about how you're doing, what is the name of it, Tim?
Yeah, so I am working at Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld Orlando as a
SeaWorld.
VIP tour guide. And we get to take people to the front of all the haunted houses, the front of the attractions. They get a free meal, some drinks, the whole thing. So I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Steve, this is something that you used to do, and I was inspired by you.
Yes, I did that for 7 seasons at Howl-O-Scream Busch Gardens over in Tampa.
And so I was like, I want to do something fun for Halloween, and I could use a couple extra dollars and whatever. So I'm doing these on the weekends. I'm doing these tours, and it's fun. And you have you don't know who's going to walk up and who you're going to have to spend the evening with and take around each evening. This past Saturday night, I had 2 very nice men who spoke no English. So it was a very interesting evening. So you never know what you're going to get. So Mary, you were talking about, go ahead.
So what I thought was funny about the blog post is your people are dressed really, everybody's seen them in advertisements for Universal Studios and Howl-O-Scream and Halloween Horror Nights and all these things, and they're very ghoulish and very, what's the zombie-like, and all these terribly scary, horrible things to me. And then you said you went into like the break room, and everyone was just having like their Coca-Cola and a sandwich or whatever, and it just made me laugh. And I thought that's so funny that they're just real people, but people really are into this, and I'm not.
So should we start by unpacking why she's not, perhaps? Well, first, let's start with you, Steve. Why you love Halloween and being scared?
Yeah.
I do. I always have. Ever since I was a little kid, Halloween was my favorite time of the year. Of course, I always loved Christmas, but Halloween was just like a blast for me. And as soon as I was old enough, I would go to haunted attractions all around St. Louis, where I grew up. And I loved the jump scares. When I'm a little brother, I have a sister who's 4.5 years older than me, so I scared her all the time when I could, much to the pain in my gut when she would punch me every time. So it was a thing that we did that I always really enjoyed. But I think as I got older, I understood the difference between enjoying the fun of it with somebody who wants to be in on the fun versus not including somebody who's not comfortable with it. And I understood what that line was, but it's important.
So just today, I'm walking out of the kitchen at my work, like carrying my lunch, and I don't see someone coming, and I don't see someone coming, and she didn't see me coming, and we kind of like didn't see each other, and we went, ah! Like lunch flew all over the place, and I'm just like, how is that enjoyable?
Okay, but after you had that moment, what happened? Did you laugh about it?
We did laugh about it.
That's the fun part for me, is the reaction after the initial reaction of like, oh my gosh, we just shared this adrenaline moment. It's like a roller coaster without having to get in the line. Sorry.
But, I just like, is it adrenaline or is it like a stress hormone? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be too. That's one of the reasons why I don't mind a roller coaster once I'm on it, but that cortisol running through my body in the line, the 40 minutes after you wait before you get on it, is not good. I don't care for that.
So the anticipation.
Yes.
So have you always been not enjoying scare stuff?
Yes, always, pretty much so. Like, I mean, no, I know people do this, but like if you're vacuuming the floor and or I'm blow drying my hair and my husband will come in and I didn't know he was coming in, I didn't hear him, and I'll go, ah! And he'll say, it's only me. And I said, I know, but it didn't matter. It's still scared is the wrong word. Alarmed me, or I don't even know what the right word is, and I don't know where this comes from. I've never liked this. I do remember going to a fair when I was young, a teenager, and we went into one of those terrible haunted house. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that are in like a 18-wheeler, like from the old county fairs or whatever. And I just remember feeling like I was stuck in there and I couldn't get out. And that was terrifying to me.
So did you like Halloween as a child?
Halloween meant nothing to us. It meant we went trick-or-treating and that's what we did. I mean, we liked candy, but who doesn't like M&Ms,
Right. So you went out getting candy, but you weren't into the scary part of it. Have you ever liked scary movies?
Never, Tim. I would rather have root canal than go to see a scary movie.
That's pretty definitive.
That is very definitive, yes. And interestingly, last weekend I watched 2 scary movies because he was working and I had the house to myself. So I watched The Nun 2 and I watched Nostradamus to relax.
Oh, that's so relaxing. It's not, I don't know if it's the gore. I don't know. Like I have like a different sensibility, I guess. I don't know. Some could be like, I could have some, anxiousness to it. Like some anxiety could be a part of that too, that it makes me nervous.
So the idea of going to Howl-O-Scream where I am and going through a haunted house or whatever, this is nothing you would ever think of wanting to do.
Ever. I'm telling you, there were friends of mine had invited me to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. And I said, I'm just going to stay outside. I want to find a bar and sit there. I mean, it's just...
Right, so let me stop and say this. I think it's perfectly fine however you are, right? So if you're somebody that doesn't like scary stuff, you don't want to do this scary movie, whatever, that is perfectly okay. I mean, I was telling Steve the other day, like, I'm a grown man who loves Cars, the Disney Cars movies, like I have Lightning McQueen right here on my desk, everybody. Okay, what is it? So a lot of people would think that was ridiculous, right? So it's like what you like, do what you want. So I want to make sure that's true. We're not judging anybody one way or the other.
And I don't feel I'm being judged by this, by the way. Like,
good.
People say you have to get over your fear, and you know what I say? No, I don't.
You don't have to be somebody that goes to see scary movies. Now, the reason, though, that I wanted to have this conversation, I thought it was interesting, but also, now, Mary, I used to be someone who didn't like to go to haunted houses, attractions, and have somebody jump out at me and scream. And I have turned into someone who does like this. And so I thought maybe that would be an interesting entryway for the conversation.
And I think you've had some hand-holding into it.
Absolutely did. And the man sitting next to me, I don't know if you noticed, we're in Halloween color shirts tonight. If you're watching the video, everyone, he's in orange, I'm in black. But yes,
Didn't
what
notice,
happened
but yay for the theme.
Right. So my big, strong, handsome husband, who I trust beyond anything, said, let's go see. And if you don't like it, we'll leave. And I knew that he was there to take care of me. So, Mary, might be part of the answer here is we went to Halloween Horror Nights, 3 years ago? 3 years ago. And I had never wanted to go. And I'd never been. And then I was like, well, it looks like fun. What did we do? We went to Busch Gardens first, or I walked through one during the day.
We went through a daytime tour.
Yeah, I saw one of them during the day, sort of like, oh, here's where I see they hide in the tree, whatever. So I was like, okay, we're going to go. But you're right, Mary. I had somebody with me who was taking care of me and guiding me through it. And the deal was, if I don't like it, I don't have to stay, right? And so I'll just share my story, because I sort of transformed that night, because I went into the first one and I thought, I'm not going to like it if somebody jumps out at me and I scream, and I'm not going to like it if they come at me with a chainsaw in the middle of the street and I can't get away or whatever. But then as soon as I went through the first house, you can jump in if you want, but as soon as we went through the first one, I realized, first off, I can do this, because I had somebody there with me to help walk me through, and I felt like it was going to keep me safe. So if somebody jumped out and I didn't like it, well, first off, Mary, also, there are rules, right? Like the people that jump out at you in these haunted house attractions cannot touch you. They cannot really come within like 2 or 3 feet of you. There's rules about
okay.
and we're not allowed to touch them or react to them or anything. So there's a safety that everybody, I think, understands about the setup of the attraction. Now, there are haunted attractions where you can sign a waiver and they can drag you off into the woods. I'm not going there for sure, right?
Yes, and I think that's my experience too, is where people would touch your neck and stuff.
But when I started walking through the first house, which was the classic monster house, if I remember, and I started going around a corner and suddenly somebody jumps out and I screamed, but then I laughed because I thought, oh, they're having fun trying to get a reaction and see me get scared. I'm having fun for it. And I also started to realize, oh, okay, I'm going around a corner. There really might be somebody there. And as soon as I started to anticipate, then it got less scary for me. And then I'll finish with this. I realized that if the scare zones are what they call, Mary, those parts of the park where you walk through and there are people just milling around, right? The guys with the chainsaw, somebody that's a cannibal pretending they're going to come eat you, whatever. But they, again, can't touch you. They can't harm you. And I realized that if I just walked straight through and I didn't react, that they didn't pay any attention to me.
Right.
They're looking for the next person who they can see is going to react, and that's who they're going to jump out to. So I found I felt safer that way. If I didn't want to engage, they pretty much left me alone.
It's interesting. And why did you feel, I'm just questioning because Steve might be able to answer this, but why did you feel the need to do this if you didn't want to do it to begin with?
That's a really good question, and I do have an answer.
Okay.
Because so many people that I knew thought it was so much fun.
Got it.
And I thought, maybe there's a way. It turned out for me to really be in my head. And once I turned the way I thought about it, rather than I don't like being scared, but okay, I can have fun being scared. If they jump out at me and I scream, I always laugh. Now, sometimes people don't laugh, but I always tend to laugh at myself. Right. The other day, I left my tour group and I was heading off somewhere in a hurry, and I was walking through the scare zone at SeaWorld, not even thinking about it. And this guy who's dressed as a plant jumps out at me and screams, and I just erupted. I just screamed like a girl, and then everybody around me that saw me do this just burst into laughter. And I thought, we're all having fun. I mean, yeah, I felt kind of ridiculous, but I was okay with it because it was kind of ridiculous. I did scream at somebody and I was there. And so anyway, it turned it into fun for me. I realized, hey, the person that's jumping out to wants to scare me is having a good time trying to scare me. And then when I react, they win, right? They're having fun. And I realized I could have fun being scared.
And that's why Steve likes it.
Absolutely. And I think that we're all, who are into this, enjoy that shared experience. And one of the things that I feel like I helped Tim with, and again, it was because he wanted to experience it. I did not say we've got to go or else I'm back. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I started saying I'd like to see what this is.
Yeah. And I
shared interest for sure. You know what I mean? Like you also shared an interest.
And it's like it's not somebody bullying you to get a reaction. You're like there to have fun with that person, and it's like a little inside joke you have going on the whole time. So I'll walk through a house. It's very hard to scare me. I mean, they get me once in a while, but I am always amazed by the detail and how did they do it. That's what I always find exciting. And
so sort of, Mary, the design, right? Like the houses, especially at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, are very highly sophisticated designs, right? And so I think if you walked through, maybe during the day when it's not scary, whatever, you would marvel at the level of design and the way they built it to create the effects. It's really quite remarkable. So that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like walking onto a movie set, really, and you're in that world, which is cool. But I will say, there are things that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of gore. If it's gross, I'm not really that interested.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, like we went through a house that was themed to a killer clown, which is always a classic Halloween thing, which is fine, but I don't need to see what that clown has done to people.
It was very gory.
It was very,
and
very
I didn't
gory.
like it either.
So, I mean, it didn't gross me out, and I wasn't like turned off and was like, oh, well,
We weren't traumatized.
This is my least favorite house of the night.
But you weren't traumatized.
We're not traumatized.
Right, but I didn't like it. Like, would I want to go through that again? No, because I don't want to see somebody that's supposedly been disemboweled or pieces of them hanging around. Like this, the gory part, Mary, I don't like.
Right.
I like the suspense. Right, but I watch a scary movie. I like the suspense and the what might be about to happen. But I don't want to see somebody get their arm sawed off. Right, like that's not interesting to me in any way.
And I think I'm a little Pollyanna about all this. Really, seriously.
What do you mean?
I just feel like I don't like that tension. I don't like to be tense, even in like, let's name a basic, like not a scary movie, not a horror movie, but like a movie like it's so old, but I remember it being very tense, like Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts. Like you knew something bad was going to happen. You knew, and that tension was.
And you don't enjoy that part.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's okay, right? Like this is our premise. It's okay. I do enjoy suspenseful movies because I feel like it's exciting, and I'm also not in it. So I can sort of detach myself. But I also think it's okay to like what you like. But I'm willing to bet that if we chose the right house and we set you up and we were there with you and you put your earplugs in so the noises aren't too loud, blah, 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 then I think you might start to realize, oh, the design is amazing. And I see how this was put together.
And that's what made me start to think about it. When I read your blog post and you went into the break room and everybody that's there, that's their job is just, kind of jump scare or whatever. They're just having a Coke. You know what I mean? They're just having a cup of coffee or a cigarette or whatever they're doing.
Right. They were all sitting around having something to eat or watching football, quite honestly, but they were dressed as zombies and killer clowns and creepy Victorian women and mental patients and spider people. Like, it's amazing to walk in on this variety of people. But the other thing I like to think about, Mary, is imagine yourself on the other side. So people are here because they want to be scared. They want to have fun going through the house. And I'm standing around a corner in a certain outfit or makeup or whatever. And I know that when they come around that corner and I jump out and say something or yell or whatever, that they're going to scream and laugh and have a great time because they want that fun adrenaline rush. So if you think about those scare actors, that was sort of the point of my blog post was they're working really hard and they're having fun bringing this experience to people.
Yes. And for you guys and for Steve, for you, Tim, it's a job and you guys do it really well. And that's something that I have come to realize as well, that this is just a job for people. This is
right. But they do it because they like it, because they think
Steve, are you working at Halloween Horror Nights or no?
I'm not. I just got a frequent fear pass, so I can go whenever I want. Just to explore. I take my time.
Frequent fear.
This is the first.
That sounds like Mary's thing. Frequent fear.
This is the first time, not counting the year of the pandemic, 2020, since 2018 that I've not worked over the Halloween season.
Oh,
so I'm giving myself a gift this year to go and experience it as somebody not putting it on, but somebody who just goes to enjoy it. And I'm loving it. It's been a lot of fun. I've been 3 or 4 times already, and plan to go again, maybe tomorrow, maybe over the weekend. I don't know yet. But I also wanted to add in that I think that a big part, at least for me, when it comes to these Halloween or haunted attractions, is that it's a safe space to be scared because the world is scary enough as it is. I don't want to get
chased. Such a good point.
I don't want to get chased by a serial killer in real life because I would freak out and probably collapse. But if I'm in a set, if I know that I'm going into this spooky situation where somebody's going to jump out and get me, and I know I'm safe doing this, it just makes me have more fun. It does not make me want to walk down some dark alley in a city I don't know, know. So I think that there's a lot there place. Too. Yeah. You're 100% safe. But to Tim's point, there are those attractions where you sign a waiver and they can do all kinds of stuff with you. I'm not interested in that. If you want to do that, great. Don't ask me to go with you. I will politely decline. But there's that safe scare that I think is a big selling point for so many people.
And that is such a good point because you're thinking like this, there's a lot of real stuff in people's lives that are scary. Yeah. And that safe scare is just such an interesting point that I really hadn't thought about.
Well, actually, I heard someone speak about this, Mary, one time, and they said that they thought Halloween was our healthiest holiday because, to this very point, the world is a scary place, and it's actually really good for us to laugh at things that are scary. It empowers us, and you can dress up and be anything you want, or you can go to these attractions, whatever, but you're sort of laughing at the things that are really fearful. I mean, nobody really wants to be attacked by a killer cowboy or doll or whatever, right?
So a clown coming out of a sewer.
Right. But if you're going through this safe space and you know you're safe, yeah, exactly. But the point is, I think Halloween is a really healthy holiday because you're sort of laughing and making fun of things that can be really scary. And I think that's healthy.
And I think I've never looked at it that way. I think I've only looked at it in my internal feelings rather than, not separating that safe fear versus, I don't want to call it unsafe fear because that's just generalized.
But I think what you're describing is the turn for me that I took when I went that night with Steve, and he explained to me they're not going to touch you, they can't hurt you if you don't like it. We don't.
Right.
And I made that turn, like, oh, I'm being scared in a safe way, in a way that I realized, oh, this is kind of cool. I can look at the way this is designed. I can have fun when somebody jumps out.
Right.
And listen, I love to laugh at myself when the other night I was going through one of the houses at SeaWorld. It's a spiders. It's all about spiders, and it's really very creepy.
Oh,
every now and then they just have like a regular worker standing there to make sure that everybody's okay, to sort of move you along and that kind of thing. And so I was looking at those creepy spider women over here, and I saw this other woman about to jump out over here. And I turned the corner, and I just screamed my head off at this regular worker guy that's just standing there. And he burst into laughter because I was so ridiculous. We had a really good laugh together about it.
Were you in costume, Tim?
Well, the tour guides at SeaWorld wear these cloaks, and we have these staffs with the skull on the top.
Right.
So I'm not scary, but I'm clearly part of the show.
Dark. Yeah.
But I also want to say that I had this conversation I often talk to the people that are waiting to go into Hell of a Scream before, like they're all standing in line waiting to go in, or sometimes just go interact with them. I think that it's like I have a theory about roller coaster therapy and water slide therapy that I think it's very healthy to scream and get it out. And if you're on a roller coaster and you scream your head off and you make a fool of yourself, nobody thinks anything of it because that's what you can do. And if you're on a water slide, I make as much noise as possible going down because it's fun.
That's great.
And I actually think it's a healthy way. And I feel like this haunted house therapy is the same kind of thing. It's good to scream and get it out because, as Steve said, the world is a scary place, and sometimes we don't have healthy ways to express that tension and all angst that we have going on. Just looking
nor control over it, and there seems to be a lot of control in what you're saying.
Absolutely, and I feel like control. And I've also, just to sort of make your point, often I have talked to usually women who are with a group of friends, and they're very nervous, very, very. So I'll go in and I'll say, okay, now who's really nervous about being here? And somebody will always fess up. I am really nervous. And she's been a good sport. She showed up with her friends, and they're shepherding her along. And so I always try to put their mind at ease. And I'm always like, look, you're going to end up having so much fun. Just laugh at yourself when you scream. I kind of try to set them up. And I will see these women later, perhaps after an alcohol or drink or two, but they are having the time of their life.
And they beer.
They realize that they're having fun. So they've gotten into the spirit of it with their friends. Now, I've also seen people go as groups of friends and they don't take care of their friends, and somebody's really having a terrible time and they're not taking care of them. So that's not honorable. But the people that go with their friends, and their friends, as you said, are sort of there to help them through the initial part. They always end up having a great time. In fact, and this might interest you, you can buy a lighted necklace that you wear that's called a no boo necklace, and the people out in the streets, the just in the scare zones, they can't interact with you if you have that on. It's like a safe thing, right?
That's very interesting, Tim. So, it's a good thing they do things like that, because I bet there are people
Right. So if you're really
scare.
nervous, you can wear this lighted necklace and walk around, and you know that no one, at least out in the street in the scare zones, is going to. Now, if you go into the haunted house, you're still fair game. But if you're out walking through the scare zones, they'll leave you alone. But I had somebody the other night buy one. She was with a group I was taking through around the park, and she says, "Well, I don't know if I need this." And I said, "Well, I'll keep this for you, and when you want it, you let me know, and you can put it on." And she never put it on the whole night, because she realized very quickly that her friends were doing a great job of making her feel safe and comfortable, and she had a blast. So it's interesting, Mary, that you brought up the part about having the safe people to help guide you through it. I feel like I never thought about that part, but that seems really key.
I think that's key for any experience, whether it's a haunted attraction or you're going on a road trip. You want to be with the right people for that experience. And that's when I did the tour guide thing, I would always make sure that the group knew that was part of my own rules. Was like, hey, you guys got to take care of each other. And one of my jokes would be, okay, there's a group of 4 of you. I have to end with 4 people. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same 4 people, but that's my job. Your job is to make sure it's the same 4 people and keep up with each other. That was always a running joke. And it really worked, and it helped break some of the tension. And one of the things I wanted to share, to piggyback on what you said about his blog, is I would see the same thing. I would go into the break room. I would drop off my guests to go. They were watching a show. I'd go in and I'd sit down and have a wonderful conversation with a Victorian ghost who was telling me about her upcoming wedding or whatever it might be. Again, these are just regular people. But I think that going back to that safe fun and then letting yourself, if you're interested, letting yourself relax and have fun. That's what I do with scary movies. I went and saw years ago when the Annabelle Comes Home came out. I love the Conjuring universe. I love all the haunting stuff. And to be perfectly honest with you, they're all based on true stories, but they're not 100% true. And I know that, which helps me relax. But I saw this movie in a packed theater and I let myself get scared. I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy it, get in the moment. And there were some really good jump scares in that movie. And the lights came on. I probably dropped popcorn all over the place. Lights came on. And before I stood up, this little African-American woman next to me grabbed my arm and said, "Honey, are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." Why? She's just like, "Well, I wanted to thank you because that's the most fun I've ever had in a scary movie, watching you react, and it made me have fun," which made me feel fantastic. So
that is funny.
Breaking that fourth wall a little bit. So it's one of my favorite.
And sometimes it's really fun to see scary movies in a crowd and a crowded theater, because it's a communal experience. And when the guy jumps out, we all scream together. One of the most fun times I ever had was seeing the original Halloween in when I was in college.
That's ancient history, Tim, for sure.
A long time ago, everybody. But this was when the original Halloween came out. Okay, yes, I'm that old. But I went to the on-campus movie theater. Like they showed movies. We had a movie theater in my. So I'm in this theater with all packed full of college students. Well, what a fun situation to see a scary movie, because everybody's like yelling out, "Oh no, don't go in there! What are you thinking?" And then somebody scares their girlfriend, and we had fun reacting together. And there's an energy to that that's really fun.
And also safety in numbers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If the guy next to you screams too, you don't feel ridiculous for screaming. Like you're all having fun together.
And I think it's important to remember that there's a way, if you're interested in Halloween and interested in anything remotely spooky, that there's a way to do it that does not have to be way in at this one scale where it's so terrifying. I mean, you talk about the communal experience of a movie. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is a great way to celebrate Halloween and laugh and be ridiculous.
I did see that in college.
Yeah. And it's turned into this thing where you interact with the film and you bring your bags of rice. I did the whole thing and I had never seen the movie before. And I absolutely loved the movie. It's not that great, but
that's not the point of it.
But that's not the point of it. It's this communal celebration, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Halloween thing.
You also bring up so many good points, about that whole, doing it for the fun of it, and I think you have to kind of, I have to switch my mindset a little bit. Like, it's not fear inducing. Let's see if you can flip the switch or the mindset, if you will, and think it's going to be fun. Like, I think I have a little bit of a roadblock, like many people do. Like, again, we were not big Halloween people. As growing up, we went trick-or-treating, and that's what we did. We had costumes and we went trick-or-treating, or we had a Halloween parade at school. It wasn't what it is now, where people can go to Home Goods or, and Halloween is everywhere.
Right.
I was, by the way, I did decoupage some pumpkins this year. I think you'll be happy to know.
That's good.
They're quite pretty and they match my house. So, but they're not scary.
Well, I do love pumpkins. I love jack-o'-lanterns, Mary. That's my favorite thing about Halloween.
I know. That's why I brought it up. So,
but imagine this. Here at Universal Studios in Orlando, they have this wooded area with maybe 15, 20 giant trees, and they're full of lighted
jack-o'-lanterns. How pretty. Right, how pretty.
Beautiful. So you walk through and they're sort of flickering, and there's just pumpkin faces, jack-o'-lantern faces everywhere you look, and it's the most beautiful thing ever. So again, it's an experience of the level of design and implementation there's so much depth to it that I just enjoy it for that reason alone. And
we've gotten I think my point is, like, going into Home Goods or Michael's is that the design of it is really elevating. It's really been elevated and very mainstream and all those things. I likely could try Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween first, huh?
Well, we're actually going this week because I haven't been in such a long time. But that might be like a put your toe in the water kind of thing, because the parade, Mary, is incredible. There's a villain show at the castle with the Hocus Pocus witches, and it would be a way to sort of have fun at Halloween on an elevated level. Right, I was going to ask you, there are also sort of homegrown, small neighborhood fun little scare zones that you can sort of put your toe in the water in if you just wanted to sort of feel it out a little bit, as long as you felt safe.
But some of those are like very, I wouldn't feel safe in them, because that would feel like no holds bar. There's no rules.
Well, I think I would ask. Is this designed? This is designed for children, okay? Right. And what are the scares like? Are you able to touch me? You can ask those things, but like we said, if you go to one of these sort of professional theme park kind of haunts or whatever, there are rules, and they're very clearly stated. You cannot touch the scare actors; they cannot touch you, and all of that. It's professionally done, and that does give me. So you could consider it. If not, you don't have to. But I'm glad we had this conversation, because I really did make a turn when I realized, this can be fun. I appreciate the level of design. I appreciate that they're having fun scaring me. And I'm sure I give people a lot of great satisfaction when I have a big scream.
Well, I think there's another way to look at it too. Another reason why I love it so much, regardless of the time of year why I love ghost stories. And this is something I've learned doing my own research and my own podcast and all that kind of stuff, is that so much of it is tied to history. And you learn that, jack-o'-lanterns used to be not pumpkins, they were turnips, and they were, to keep the evil spirits of the winters away. So a lot of this is like very mythology. But then you look at some of these spooky Christmas stories, and a lot of those were to keep children from wandering off into the cold, where it really was dangerous. And instead of saying, you're going to wander out there and freeze to death and die, instead you say, the wicked witch that lives in the mountain is going to come get you, so stay close to home. So I think that take on a lot of this is interesting too, because all of these were fertilized by something way back in the past and have grown into this huge thing.
I agree. And you always seem to point those things out, Steve, like just, on your Facebook page or anything like that. I've seen some of that, which seems very interesting, like rooted in history, mythology, or, or just keeping children out of trouble. We make things up to keep children out of trouble.
Right. And as we mentioned before, Steve has a podcast called Phantom History. Anybody that's interested in this. And it is really the combination of the ghost story, the historic information about the place, and then the sort of paranormal activity there. You want to say it better?
Yeah. I mean, I've I don't tell the story. I interview people who have had paranormal experiences, and I ask historians about the history of the location that have fed into these stories to try to figure out what these are. If these people have these experiences, I didn't experience them myself. They're just telling me. But I think that, like with everything, whether it's a Christmas tradition or a scary ghost story, it's had to start somewhere. There's a grain of truth in there that ignited it, and I always like to find that. And I think that the history of Halloween is so fascinating because it goes back so far to the I would say it's wrong, is it Celts of Ireland, way back when, you know. So there's just so much history that's tied to it, and I love that it's kind of back in style. You know, goes out for a while, comes back in, and I think we're at a peak right now. To your point, Mary, it's everywhere you look.
Yeah, everywhere you look. Yeah. You should see my decoupage pumpkins.
I can't wait.
I wish you had one. You'll have to send us a picture.
I'm going to send you a picture.
I would love that. So, Mary, has this conversation gone the way you expected?
Yes, I think so. Yes, and what started me on the blog post was a different perspective than I was looking at it, and I think what this did was continued that conversation, you know, to a different perspective rather than the fear, you know. So I'm not saying I'm dipping a leg, you know, but I could dip a toe or a toenail, you know. So to look at it, I think my eyes have been open as to see it in a different light. And your blog post did that to me, Tim. And that's when I called you and we had this discussion about it.
Yes, we did. And we said, well, we should talk about this because we thought this was interesting. And I'm glad that the blog post did sort of pique your interest. But
and before we wrap up, there's one other thing I want to add, and you can decide to edit this out later if you want. It's up to you. But you talked about, Mary, how your husband will accidentally surprise you sometimes. You know, I have accidentally surprised Tim a number of times, you know, just by walking into a room and he didn't know I was there or whatever, and gets a reaction, which of course makes me laugh. It's just my reaction. I laugh.
Yes.
But it's not intentional. So I share that by saying, you know, whoever's listening or watching to this, if you have a friend who is just like, no, I'm not interested, quit asking me, quit asking them, you know, respect that.
Right.
Like somebody wants to take you to church and you don't want to go, you politely say, no, thank you, go do your thing. So just know what those lines are and respect what people are comfortable with, because you can't force people to enjoy something that you happen to enjoy.
Right. Not everybody likes broccoli.
Exactly.
Right. And to that point, Mary, I understand if it's an innocent scare, but we have an understanding, my husband and I, that I do not like to be scared intentionally, and he knows not to do that. Now,
we do too.
Right. So and I think, again, it's about respecting everybody. What are they comfortable with? What are they not comfortable with? What are the rules? Respecting that all around.
Yes.
But I will tell you that Steve and I have a lot of fun now going to these sort of haunted attractions together in the safe environment and having that experience together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know not to creep up on me intentionally.
I will make a lot of noise when I walk into a room, just so he knows that I'm coming.
As big and clunky as he can be, I still don't hear him sometimes.
But I'm deaf.
Yeah,
and if I'm blow drying my hair or running the vacuum, which quite honestly, I don't run the vacuum, but so I just had to go with blow drying my hair. Noel is more likely to run the vacuum than I am. But he knows not to scare me ever.
Right. So if it happens and you get an alarm, you still know he wasn't trying to hurt me. He wasn't trying to.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what's important.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Mary, this has been really fun. Thanks for having this conversation.
It has been fun. And just so, here are my pumpkins.
Oh, those are beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, nice. Everybody, if you're watching the video, you can see it. But
I decoupage them to match my house. And
so they're in your colors.
Yeah. So
Nice
here.
job. I love that. Look at you getting into the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thanks, guys.